Be'ezrat Hashem, with God's help, we begin today another set of laws in this third book of the Rambam, Hilchos Shekalim, the laws of the half-shekel coin. The Rambam immediately begins by telling us which of the 613 mitzvahs are going to be discussed in this set of laws. Mitzvahs asay achas, it's just one positive commandment, vihi, which is litein kol ish machatzis hashekel b'chol shana. Every man needed to give a half-shekel coin to the temple treasury every single year. Ubir mitzvah zu beprakim elu. The explanation of this mitzvah will come in the coming chapters. There are 4 chapters in this coming set of laws. If it's familiar to you, this concept of the half-shekel coin, you might remember that after every Jew gave this half-shekel coin to the temple treasury, it was used to buy the communal offerings. And the truth is that was one of the things. There was many other things that the half-shekel coins were used for, which we're going to learn about in the last chapter of this set of laws. But when the Rambam describes the mitzvah, he doesn't describe anything related to the sacrifices. And the Rebbe makes a big deal out of this, noting that according to the Rambam, the half-shekel coin, while ultimately it was used for sacrifices, its purpose, its original purpose, was not for buying sacrifices. It wasn't like there's, a request that every single person has to pitch in to bring the communal sacrifices. There's something inherent in the bringing of the half-shekel coin, something which is called kapara. It's a way of a person atoning for himself, specifically atoning for the golden calf, or more generally, there was a kapara associated with it. It was the individual's obligation each year to give a monetary donation to achieve kapara, atonement on his behalf. And this explains a number of things, including first and foremost why this set of laws is in this book of the Rambam. If the half-shekel coin was all about the community sacrifices, it would belong in the books of the Rambam which discuss the temple service or the temple sacrifices, the 8th and 9th book of the Rambam, the book of Avoda, and the book of Korbanot. Why is it in the book of Zmanim? Zmanim is a list of mitzvahs that apply at specific times throughout the year. But with this in mind, it becomes very clear. The sacrifices that were bought with the half-shekel coins was a secondary byproduct. The main function of the half-shekel coin was a mitzvah upon each and every person to once a year make this donation. So it's a time-bound mitzvah, a mitzvah that happens at a specific time during the year. And therefore it fits right into the book of Zmanim, which is exactly that, mitzvahs of holidays, mitzvahs that apply at special times during the year. The Rebbe notes even further, where does the Rambam put this? Right after the laws of shofar, before the laws of the Jewish calendar. The laws of the Jewish calendar were given for the first time in the first day of the month of Nisan, Rosh Chodesh Nisan in Mitzrayim. The half-shekel coin is supposed to be given right before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, as we're going to see, right before the first day of the month of Nisan. When was the half-shekel coin first introduced? Right after Yom Kippur, after God forgave the Jews for the golden calf. Well, what was the law we just finished learning? The laws of Tishrei, the laws of the first month, the shofar that was blown both on Rosh Hashanah and also on Yom Kippur. So there's a message there in putting the half-shekel coins between Rosh Hashanah and the calendar, because it's related to both of those episodes in Jewish history. Let's get right to the halacha itself. Perek Rishon, chapter 1, halacha aleph, says the Rambam. Mitzvah sasei min Torah, it's a positive commandment, a biblical positive commandment. Litein kol ish mi Yisrael machatzis hashekel b'chol shana v'shana. That every Jew should give a half-shekel coin every single year. This is actually an ancient shekel coin, not a half-shekel. This is a shekel coin from the Second Temple period. It has some ancient Hebrew on it, and it was discovered in archaeological diggings. So I think it's fascinating to display it over here. A half of the shekel was a separate coin. It was called the machatzis shekel, and that was the coin that you had to give every year. And again, it was used as a secondary byproduct for korbanot, but primarily it was an obligation on the individual to give this monetary donation to achieve atonement on his behalf. Afilu ani hamisparnes min tzedakah chayav. Even a poor person who relies for sustenance on tzedakah is obligated to give this half-shekel coin, to the point, he needs to borrow from other people or sell the shirt on his back, to be able to give the half-shekel coin of silver. Shenemar, as it says in the verse, ha'oshir lo yarbe v'hadal lo yamit. I got to find here my arrow here. Bring us to the verse. There it is. when the half shekel coin mitzvah was given, the rich person should give no more, and the poor person should give no less, v'gomer, etc. And now the Rambam says a fascinating line. A person is not allowed to give the half shekel coin in multiple increments, many times. Today a bit, tomorrow a little bit. You have to give it all as one at one time. There's two elements here. All as one means it has to be one coin, as the commentaries explain it. So think about if you were giving 50 cents. You would have to give a $50 coin, not a bunch of nickels and a bunch of dimes. B'pa'am achas at one time. It's a one-time donation, has to all be given in. It's a fascinating thing why that is. The primary explanation would be based on what we said before, that the half shekel coin is a kapara. It serves as an atonement. With kapara, there are no halves. When you atone for yourself, you bring the full atonement and that's it. Mystically, there are a lot of interesting allegories here. The half shekel coin was only a half, but you had to give it wholly. That reminds us that even if we know that everything we do ultimately only amounts to half, in other words, not the full thing that we could achieve, but we must achieve our wholesomeness, the highest level of shleimut that we can reach, we should do. If we can do it all as one, we do it all together. There's another allegory in the half shekel coin that it's my half and your half makes a whole. Half shekel tells me that I'm not whole without another Jew. The Rebbe would always talk about that on the Shabbat that we read, the portion of the half shekel coin. Now, because the Rambam mentions half shekel coin, and this is really the first time we're discussing coinage in Jewish law, the Rambam spends considerable time in this chapter letting us know the different gradations of Talmudic and halachic coinage or currency. Says the Rambam halacha beis, minyan kesef ha'amr b'Torah. Whenever there's a number of silver coins stated in the Torah, ba'oinus, for example, by the rapist, he has to pay a fine of a certain amount of silver coins. Uvim mifata, or the seducer, one who seduces a young virgin girl into relations, has to give a fine. Uvim maitzi shemra, somebody who spreads a false rumor about his wife, saying that he didn't find her a virgin, he has to also pay a fine if he's discovered to be lying. V'hoireg eved, when somebody kills a slave, somebody kills a Jewish slave, there's a fine he has to pay, also described in the Torah as silver coins. Hu shekel hanemar b'chol makom b'Torah. It is equivalent to the shekel which is described in Torah. So in Torah, the word silver coin and shekel are synonymous. Umishkaloi, the weight of the Torah shekel, the biblical silver coin, shloish meis ve'esrim sa'ira, is 320 barley coins. That's the middle there. You see the shekel, the biblical shekel, is 320 se'orim, 320 barley corns of weight. Ukvar hosifu chachamim alav. The sages later on added to the amount. V'asu mishkalei kemishkal hamatbeya hanikra sela bizman bayis sheni. They equated the shekel with the more common sela. The common coin in the time of the Second Temple period was known as the sela. The sela, as we'll see right now, the kamahu mishkal sela, how much was the weight of the sela? Shloish meyas va'arba u'shmoinim sa'ira beinanis. 384 average-sized barley coins. So the sages said that instead of the shekel weighing 320, we're going to equate the shekel with the sela, and thus the rabbinic shekel weighed 384 se'orim. Okay? So, we're looking for the machatzit shekel. We're looking for the half shekel coin. Biblically, that would be 160 barley coins of weight, of silver, because the shekel was 320. Rabbinically, when they equated the shekel to the sela, at that time, Jews began to give a half of a sela, because we're going to see that the half shekel isn't really always biblical. You give a half of the local currency. So they would give a half of a sela, which would come out to be 192 barley corns of weight, to be the half of 384. Now the Rambam goes into the full gamut of coinage. Hasela, arba dinarim. Let's talk about the rabbinic coins. The sela, and I'm starting specifically from the second one there. I know there's a first one. We're going to get to that later. Hasela equals 4 dinar. You can see there's actually different pictures here of coins. In certain cases, I was able to get actual ancient pictures of what that used to be. The sela, that's an ancient sela. is equal to 4 dinar. Like a dollar is 4 quarters, a selah is 4 dinar. The hadinar sheish ma'in, going down the chain, the dinar is equal to 6 ma'ah, or ma'in in the plural. Uma'ah hi anikres b'mimesher rabbeinu geira. The word ma'ah is synonymous with what was called in Moses' times the geira. Uma'ah hi shnei pundyoinen, going down the level. Ma'ah, or a geira, is worth 2 pundyons. Upundyon shnei isarin, the pundyon is equal to 2 isars. Upruta achas mishmayna ba'isar, and the pruta is 1/8 of an isar. So the Rambam is giving all these numbers or terms and numbers to us because these coins come up quite often in Jewish law, not just over here. But once we're talking about coins, I give you the full gamut of coinage, and now you'll remember it forevermore. Throughout the Rambam, these are the numbers of coins. Nimtza. So it turns out, based on the equivalent we gave you before over here, a shekel being 320, a rabbinic shekel being 384, that mishkal hama'ah, the weight of the ma'ah, here it is, or the geira, the hi ha-geira, would be sheish esrei sa'ires, 16 barley corns. Umishkal ha-isar, arba sa'ires. The isar, which is a quarter of a ma'ah, is 4 barley corns of weight. Umishkal ha-pruta, the weight of the pruta, which is 1/8 of the isar, chatzi sa'ira, weighs 1/2 of a barley corn. Dalit, says the Rambam, ba'id matbeya acher hayasham. There was another coin, more of a rare coin, shaya mishkale shtei sloim, which weighed 2 selas. V'hu haya nikra dar coin. That was called the dar coin. All the way at the top, it was worth 2 selas. That's the highest level of currency. So that's it. We now have the terminologies of the currency, and we can also translate them to weight, based on the fact that we know that the shekel / the selah is 384 barley corns. Once you know that, you can figure out the weight of all the other coins. All of these coins which we've just mentioned. And we've explained the weight of each and every one of them. They are the ones that we use in estimation and counting in all places in halacha. Now we've already explained them. So I will not have to explain their weight again and again in every place. I said it once, remember it forever. Hey, machatzis ha-shekel zu. This half shekel coin that Jews were obligated to give, mitzvasa sheyitein machatzis matbeya shel oisei azman. The mitzvah is to give the half of the currency of the current time. Afilu haya oisei matbeya gadol mishekel hakodesh. Even if the coin was greater in weight than the holy shekel, the biblical shekel. Ula oilam einay shekel pachos. But you can never give less than mechatzi ha-shekel shahaya b'mei Moshe Rabbeinu, the half of the biblical shekel which existed in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu's shekel again was 320 barley corns. Half of that was 160. So if your local currency, if half a coin of your local currency comes out to less than 160 barley corns in weight, you have to give a minimum of 160 barley corns in weight, even though it's more than your half currency. Whose weight was 160 barley corns. When the local currency at the time was the darkon, the bigger coin, everybody used to give as their half shekel a selah, because the darkon has 2 selahs, so you would give 1 selah as the half shekel coin. When the selah was the local currency, everybody used to give as the half shekel a half of a selah, which is the equivalent of 2 dinars, because there are 4 dinars in a selah. When the coin was a half selah, 2 dinars, if that was the currency, everybody would give as the half shekel coin the very same half selah, even though the currency was a half selah, so you would think to give a quarter of a selah. But again, the half selah is, in other words, less than that would be less than the biblical half shekel. So you can't give it. You have to give the half selah as the half shekel. Never ever did the Jewish people in history give for the half shekel coin less than the weight of the biblical half shekel. It says that everybody is obligated to give this donation of half shekel coin. Koyanim, Levim, the Yisraelim, whether you're a Kohen, Levite, Israelite, the Gerim, Ba'avadim, Mishacharim, a convert, a freed slave, Avaloi Nashim, V'lei Avadim, V'lei Tanim, not women, not slaves, not children. They are not obligated in time-bound mitzvahs, children in any mitzvahs. V'im Nashnu, but if they did give, Mekablim Mehem, we take it from them. Aval Akusim, Shenasnu Machatzis shekel, but if a Gentile gave a half shekel coin, Ein Mekablim Mehem, we don't take it from them. Katan shehischil aviv litin alav machatzis hashekel. If a father decided to give on behalf of his son an additional half shekel coin to the Beis Hamikdash, to the temple, shuv einei paisik. He can never stop. Once you do it once, you can never stop. You must give for him every year, ad sheyagdil v'yitin alatzim, until he grows up and gives it for himself. The mitzvah of giving the half shekel coin is only applicable in the times of the temple. In the time that the temple was standing, they would give the half shekel coin both if you lived in Israel or in the diaspora. But once the temple was destroyed, we don't even do it in the land of Israel, because the mitzvah only applied in temple times. Now, of course, today we're familiar with the concept of giving machatzis hashekel on the eve of Purim. That's a custom that arose to remember the Holy Temple, but it is not an obligation at all. In fact, we give not just one half coin, we give 3 half coins for other reasons. But that's, again, just a zecher, just a remembrance. It isn't the real thing. Tests. On the first day of the month of Adar, the announcement would go out. It's time to start giving your half shekel coins. So everyone could prepare his half shekel, and he'll be ready to give it. On the 15th day of Adar, the day after Purim, the money changers sat down. They opened up their cash registers in every province, and they would begin to demand the half shekel coin pleasantly. Guys, come on, start giving your shekels. Whoever gives, they take it. And whoever didn't give, you don't force the issue. And the 25th day of Adar, they would sit down in the temple to begin collecting the half shekel coins. And from this point on, the Bet Din, the High Court, could force anybody who did not give this half shekel until he gave it. Anybody who would not give it, so they were allowed to take collateral from him. They can take his property by force, even his clothes. Anybody who isn't obligated to give the half shekel coin, like women, slaves, children, even though their habit was always to give, or they were planning to give, we never forcibly take collateral from them because they aren't obligated. Also, the Kohanim who worked in the temple, we didn't take collateral from them if they didn't give the half shekel coin, to keep the peace. Kohanim can get very particular about their honor. We don't want to mess with them. Once they give it, we take it. And we keep on demanding them, we keep on nudging them till they give the half shekel coins, but no collateral taking in order to be able to keep the ways of peace.